Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I am Ben, joined here by Brian to talk about week 2 of Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World, episodes 4, 5, and 6. And, what a slate of episodes. I thought episode 4 was okay. I had some issues with it. I had some issues with some of the twists that have happened in the game in these episodes. But, 5 and 6, absolutely fire episodes. Can't really complain about either one.
Yeah, Australian Survivor, not necessarily known for the best twists, I'll be honest. But, what Survivor is known for being great at twists these days anyways?
Yeah, now there are a couple of twists that we can talk about, or maybe production decisions that I would consider BB-esque in terms of what we always talk about, where either things will either have no impact or have a negative impact, which is what we've always said is the hallmark of a bad twist or a bad production decision.
Yeah, if you want to hear us complain about Big Brother, the Have Not Room, our Big Brother podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll also have to talk about Sarah's run on this show as well. She was giving me BB-27 vibes in a lot of her gameplay.
Tough week, or I guess tough 2-week run here for Sarah.
Yeah, we'll start with Sarah because I think that even though it's not sequential, for me, I think that what we see in her exit, her exit talk with the camera after she's voted out, is I think a misunderstanding of her issues in the game. And this was where it hit me that this is exactly the same type of misunderstanding I'm seeing a lot of the Big Brother 27 players have, in particular Vince. But she is basically saying her mistake was voting out David and not aligning with David's crew. But her issue, in my eyes, wasn't any individual game mechanic decision she made, in terms of a vote or anything like that. It was what she did in between the votes in terms of her social game, in terms of being wishy-washy, non-committal, trying to vote out Shawnee and failing, running information to Janine that wasn't actually pertinent to making any kind of game moves or decisions, and then, seemingly turning on Kirby for no real reason, and then that information filtering back to Kirby. There were so many things that I would point to before the decision to vote out David for her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if she's if I had not voted out David, I wouldn't have played this way, then yes, I guess. But it was she was fine. If she just chilled out, she would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of, I'd say that a really good Survivor player can make any decision in the voting booth as long as it's somewhat rational. There's some rationalization you can make for it, and they can make it work based off of their social game and their in the individual conversations with people before and after. I think that fundamentally the game mechanic decisions you make in these games, both in Survivor and Big Brother, are, I think, less important than people think they are, if you're good at the game. Where, yes, Sarah probably would have had a cleaner road if she had just gone with the David crew in terms of getting at least deeper into the game. But after you've committed to voting out David and working with Kirby, you have to fully double down, triple down on that decision. You can't be wishy-washy on it. You can't try to hedge against a decision that you've already made. It doesn't make any sense to do so.
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't work out for her, and it really torpedoed Kirby's game as well, as we see. So I mean, both of them could have probably still been in the game at this point, if they had not, turned on each other for literally no reason at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with Kirby, it's more defensible because Sarah did turn on her first, for no reason. And I understand the decision that Kirby made to go with Parv and Suri and vote Sarah out in episode 5. The thing is, there was not really any kind of follow through, and if you're not like selling the story of what happened in like a way that makes sense, I understand the hesitancy for people like Suri to be like, well, she just blindsided her number one ally at literally like the first possible opportunity. Like, why would I want to work with somebody like that long term? But like when like it's filtered through the storyline of Sarah turned on her first and like made herself Kirby's enemy before Kirby did anything against her, like then that makes a little bit more sense. And it's like, oh, well, like then, you know, as long as like I'm actually loyal to Kirby, like, you know, she might be ride or die with me.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sarah needed to work through some things from her first season that she wasn't quite able to in the time between then and now, and it really showed in her gameplay, you know.
Yeah, I'm curious what your thoughts are on like length of time between returns, because Sarah on this cast has the longest, I think, length of time between returns. Maybe Suri actually. Suri was Game Changers, and that was 34, so about 8 years ago. So I think Suri actually might have the longest span, but she was on the Traders. She was on Big Brother.
She played Big Brother, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different. I think everybody else on the cast has played within the last like 4 or 5 years. You know, Kirby and Cass had both like played like the previous year. You know, I'm curious whether having had so much time for the like what ifs to matriculate inside of her head, like led to this result. Whereas if you're somebody who played a year ago and now you're coming back, like you haven't had the like time for that to really like eat away your psyche on a long-term basis.
I think it's that, and I also think she was 22 when she played the first time. So like Survivor is probably like a huge defining moment in her life in a way that it maybe hasn't been for some of these other players. Or at least they had a little bit more of their life lived before going into it. Or they've played a bunch of times since they were like 20, like Parv. And, you know, any individual game isn't that important when you've played so many times and you've played the Traders and Deal or No Deal Island and all that. And I wonder if like that has a little bit to do with it, where it's like, you know, she's 29. She played once when she was 22. That's really when you're just like starting life out and trying to figure yourself out. And she's kind of allowed herself to be defined by the experience of, you know, the first season and the feedback she got and like not wanting to be conniving and all that coming in and just kind of let it get the better of her.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because like even the players who are kind of like, you know, played one time or are less well known, like either played very recently or like have like, you know, like Janine is like very successful in her, you know, personal life. Kirby even is like very successful in her personal life. And then like both Lisa and Cass played very recently relative to the rest of the cast. So like, you know, I agree. I think there is something to say about that for sure.
Like I think about, you know, we auditioned at the Biggie for Survivor. And then that summer I played in the Warrior Challenge. So I was like 21. If I had gotten on Survivor at 21, I think it would have been a bigger part of my self than if I played Survivor today, you know?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Like, right. I would like to think that if I ever played Survivor, which I'm not ever going to play real Survivor. So this is all 100% hypothetical, but like if I ever did it like now, it would be like, oh, that was a cool thing to do versus like, this is like what my life has been building towards.
Yeah, I think the only other person on this cast that I feel like might have that kind of mindset, ironically, is Lisa. Even though I just kind of said it, used her an example otherwise, because like I think because Lisa is such a huge fan, and she goes on, she has like a pretty dominant win, and then like obviously her series gets canceled, and like now she's here with all of these huge names, including like her favorite player of all time, and like she's working with these people. Like maybe there's, I think, a little bit of hesitancy on her part to maybe play like super optimally or super like self-interestedly, because it's like she's kind of living the experience like through her fandom as opposed to like as a player.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if I played Survivor and Suri was there, that would be complicating. Same thing. Like when we saw her be on Big Brother, I'd be like, oh man, it'd be really hard not to just want to align with her and kind of like to your own detriment, So
yeah, I mean, 100%. I that's exactly the same. Like I think that like if I thought that it was impossible to align with Suri or any like other players that like I have like a huge amount of respect and admiration towards, I 100% would do that. And it probably would bite me in the ass the same way that like you have Kirby wants to work with Serene and more into a more extent Parvati, and ends up biting her in the ass kind of.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. One thing I didn't appreciate on the topic of Lisa was Luke being like, oh, she's like a small target or whatever. It's like, all right, Luke, how many seasons of Survivor have you won again? This is your third time. She won her first one, so didn't really appreciate that from Luke. Mister hasn't voted correctly once this season.
It is crazy, this kind of like narrative building that everyone in the season seems to be doing around big and small names.
Yeah.
Especially given that like basically the entire cast are big names compared to like the vast majority of people who have ever played Survivor. And like it's only on this season that like a super dominant like one-time player who won is like going to be called a small name. Like that's crazy.
No, it really is. And I mean, I get it. I get like Rob apparently was super dominating. Tony won twice. David's big. Parv and Suri are two of the best players ever. George is one of the most strategic players ever. So I get it, but it's also like, come on, put a little bit of respect on her name. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is weird. We see this constantly in All-Star seasons, and it's why we have like, Rob and Amber are able to run the original All-Stars. It's why like there had become for a long time this idea that the person on the cast that is the least obviously threatening is in fact the most likely to win any given All-Star season.
Yeah, Monica getting a challenge thrown just to get her voted off of Second Chance because she's in that role. Hilarious, Yeah. Probably not to her, but
no, yeah. I mean, especially with Cambodia, because the cast was so open for like weeks/months before that season filmed. Like it was like a very interesting kind of case study because there was open discourse amongst the fan base about who was the most likely to win the season before it even filmed, as the entire cast was at home reading the discourse. And the discourse of the time was, oh yeah, like Monica Padilla is like a top 3 threat heading into the season because she's the opposite, where like no one thinks she's a threat.
Right. Oh man, so ridiculous to look back on that.
Yeah.
Then Kelly Wentworth was actually able to be what we thought Monica was going to be going into that season.
Yep.
So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I didn't like Luke being like, I don't even know where she's from. It's like, oh, you don't know where the girl from New Zealand's from, the country closest to yours.
I feel like that's got to be like just Australia versus New Zealand, like regional.
Right, it had to be. It had to be.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Like you can't hear her accent and know where she's from, Luke.
Like I would be surprised, I think, if that wasn't just like regional, like kind of rivalry shade. I mean, but I mean, Luke did completely massacre Cerie's name, so maybe he's just completely not tapped in to Survivor outside of Australia.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was very funny to like think about, like, oh, he's such a big part of this franchise and so experienced, but he doesn't know like who Cerie is.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I mean, we want to eulogize Tony.
Yeah, we can eulogize Tony. I think that like when I'm talking about twists I didn't like in bad twists, I think that episode 4 is like the main, episode 4 and then the auction, which we're obviously talking about, were like the two things that I was like, I don't like this. This was dumb. But at least the auction was like drama, whereas like this just seemed like production trying to rig it so that the World Tribe could actually lose a challenge so that the merge would be even. Because we have this immunity challenge where literally the entire World Tribe outlasts the entire Aussie tribe. And by the end of the episode, the Aussie tribe are immune from Tribal Council and the World Tribe are voting somebody out. Like, what kind of fucked up situation is this? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
what a stupid twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would have even preferred the twist of like, oh, the two people voted off do a fire making challenge. Yeah. But like,
that's way more interesting.
Yeah. Now this is crazy and just unlucky that Cerie was the one to get it and did so poorly, and that's why Tony gets voted off. It's like, it wasn't even like choose your champion type thing, you know. Or Tony could have at least been like, I know I'm gonna get voted off. Let me try. It's just like unlucky. It sucked. Yeah,
I mean, because I guess who would have been? I guess like Shani is probably the one. Like I know Shani thing came up, but like that's kind of assuming, I guess, that Sarah would have voted with Luke and Janine against Shani, which seems to be what would have happened. So if we presume that it would have been the twist from the original All Stars that Shani had brought up, then it would have been Tony versus Shani in the fire making. In which case, I think Tony probably has an advantage, and Shani's probably the one who goes in this boot.
I agree. Just unfortunate. And Tony did what he could, which was not much. Once Cerie was like, yeah, I'm not going to go to bat for him, it's like, all right, well, this is over. Yeah,
I think that, I mean, Tony's, obviously going to throw every Hail Mary possible. And like, anything he can like throw at the wall and potentially make sick, he's going to make an effort. Like he's not going to roll over and die. He's going to, do some crazy shit that nobody really fundamentally understands what he's doing, but just try to like stir up enough chaos that maybe things change. Like he's basically been doing this since like, early Kagayan. Like this is nothing new. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, but I think that with Tony out, the game did kind of open up a little bit more into this merge. And I think that like it's allowed kind of Parv and Cerie to have the space to make some of the plays that they're making right now. Whereas if Tony was there, I think they probably would be like looking over their shoulder at him, like wondering if he's like plotting against them. Whereas now they're kind of more singularly focused as a duo.
Yep. No, that's definitely the case. And like, he saw the writing on the wall. Even if the had not lost Tony there, I'm not sure like if he was just gonna stay loyal to them or anything like that. So
yeah, I think he also made a bit of a misread, I think, in going after Parv as the person he was going hard at in Tribal Council. Like he did like make the correct soul read that Parv was the one that found the key. And like, so like kudos to him for like making that read. But Parv is like basically the only one who had been fighting for him at all that round. And so going after her kind of took his like, maybe like 3% chance of staying and brought it down to 0.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Like, I wanted Tony to make the merge, but that's all right. I wasn't coming into this game. I was like pretty convinced he wasn't going to go far. So again, it's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I think this is probably about where I would have expected him to go out on, in an average situation. And again, it was like not impossible that he made further. Like if this twist doesn't happen, or if it's done slightly differently, he's definitely in the merge, and there's like probably bigger fish happening. So
yeah. So I mean, we got a Black Widow Brigade 2.0 for a second. That was fun.
Yeah, I don't know what Parv and Suri are doing. It feels like they're playing kind of messy, but it's working, and so like I can't really like fault it too much. But like I don't know how much longevity this like gameplay style has. But on the other hand, Parv has an idol and a knowledge is power, headed into the final 8, which is like, and she has Suri and like as a locked #1 ally. So like I think that the pair of them like still probably have a lot of potential here, but like I don't really see the vision. But maybe I'm blind. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the walls are definitely about to close in on them. I think Shawnee being willing to bail didn't help.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I think that this was the most surprising thing for me. In episode 6, we have these 2 duos from the Aussie tribe with Luke and Janine, and Kirby and Shawnee, and neither of these duos vote together on that vote. And I was just like, it feels like neither one of them was really truly explained as to why they weren't voting together. Like Shawnee jumped ship from Kirby and goes to work with Luke to try to take Suri out in a plan that seemed like really poorly, thought through, and didn't really like have any kind of legitimate bearing on what was happening. And then Janine kind of goes off on a solo mission to try to like snow Parv and Suri into turning on their allies, which like kind of ends up working. Like she originally tries to do it to get the focus onto Cass. Cass wins immunity. She pivots and is like, okay, let me try to get them to turn on Kirby, which does ultimately work. But yeah, I was very confused because like it felt like a lot of the story was left out in order for them to try to hide what I think was also already still a very obvious vote. Because by the time we go to tribal council in episode 6, I'm like, there's literally no votes here for anybody besides Kirby to go. So like, why are you trying to like hide a vote that's still so obvious and not like tell a story that kind of makes more sense?
Yeah. I guess just wanted the surprise factor, I guess.
But there wasn't a surprise though. Like other votes this season have been a bit like up in the air for me. Like could go either way, a little bit of a surprise. Like I think that like, the David boot, I was pretty confident David was going, especially after the live tribal stuff, but I think it still could have gone either way. The George vote, I felt somewhat confident, but I think, still had a little bit of opening. And then like, obviously like the 4-3-3 on Sarah, I was like, are they actually going to pull off a 4-3-3 here? That'd be crazy. And they did. Yeah. But like here, I was like, oh yeah, there's no outcome for here other than Kirby going. Like I'm just like counting the votes on my hand. There's no way for it to work. So
yeah, really the big question for me was like, is Parv going to vote for her? And like, I kind of felt like no, like, I kind of felt like she wasn't going to like not vote her off. Like it's kind of like, yeah, she's going to choose Suri over Kirby. Yeah. So there's not that much suspense here.
Yeah, 100%. And like even like if Parv, changed her vote, I think it's a little bit 4-3-2, or would it have been like a 3? Like, what would the votes have been?
It was what, 6-1?
It was 6-1. Yes, right.
Yeah.
So it would have been 5-3-1. So it wouldn't have even mattered.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
Or it would have been 5. It would have been 5. No, it would have been 6-2-2. No, it would have been 5-2-2. 5-2-2. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have more just been a like, oh, sorry, I didn't vote you off. At least vote.
Yeah, it would have been like a please, don't be bitter against me. Like, I need your jury vote.
Exactly. And I think Parv's much more of a player who's just going to be like, well, either you can deal with it or not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like, try to pity vote for you,
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to play it. I don't like. I think like giving pity votes, like the like hypothetical potential, goodwill that you could get from a juror is, I think, of lower precedence than trying to maintain a sense of unity within the game and the players that are still in it. Usually,
and like the only time I like can ever really see is like you're somebody's like day one ally, and like the walls have closed in, and you're just like, all right, well, they all know I'm with them. Like, I'm just gonna vote with them, and they're not gonna like hate me even more,
Yeah, I mean, I just come back to, Sierra voted out her mom, so Sierra can do it, then.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point.
In case you didn't know, so yeah, I don't know. I think that pity votes are dumb, usually. Like, I would say like 95+% of the time, they're just like not defensible.
Yeah. Yeah, so I respect what Parv did. I don't know where that duo can go from here in terms of like keeping the, stranglehold on the game. I think they're going to have to, I mean, the preview was pretty, obvious about it, but like I figured anyways that they were going to have to be like fighting with idols and advantages versus, their social savviness.
Yeah, which is, I think, a little disappointing, especially because like, I think the twist that auction twist, which you want to talk about the auction twist, or you want to talk about the, repercussions, with the knowledge power first?
Oh, let's talk about the auction twist and get into the.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't love the knowledge is power advantage. Personally, I don't love the idol nullifier or the knowledge is power. I don't love the idea that you can negate somebody's advantage like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that we've, in talking about U.S. Survivor, been, pretty hard poo-pooers of the knowledge is power advantage. It had like a somewhat interesting moment on 41 where it failed. But on the U.S. Survivor, at least, it has yet to be successful. I know on the last season of Australian Survivor, it was successful, and we'll see if it's successful this season. But it is kind of like one of the BB twists, right? Where like either it fails and it's completely irrelevant, or you're basically like risking that somebody who's in power who gets it steals an idol from like a player on the outs, because like an idol, as a tool, as an advantage in the game, works so well and is like such a good mechanic because it implicitly only helps people who are in danger and in the bottom or in the minority, like, which is how you want twists to work generally. You want them to do little to nothing for people who are already in power and a lot for people who are not in power. Where the knowledge is power advantage kind of flips that dynamic on its head, because it's actually more powerful for the person who is in control than it is for the people who aren't in control. Because unless like the majority alliance is going around flaunting their idol, and then like somebody who's on the outs gets knowledge's power and like yoinks it from them and uses it to save themselves, like it's most effective as somebody who's in a majority alliance and you need to guarantee get this person out. You use the knowledge's power on them when they're about to idle themselves and like have this big, victory lap as an underdog, and you just steal that glory from the underdog. It's just not. It's not like a fun twist in terms of like the average expected outcome.
Yeah, it would take a really like interesting situation for someone to be so far on the outs that they're getting voted off, but in the know enough to know who has an immunity idol.
And maybe it'll work this season with Parv, because I think Parv is probably the type of player that like might fall into that box, especially like now where like her and Suri are kind of pissing away a lot of their social control, but they otherwise have, I think, relatively okay reads, barring obviously like, you know, they both kind of do individually get snowed a little bit by Janine, at least in what was edited and shown to us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Parv, realistically, she has what, a 2 in 6 chance of guessing. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's better than shot in the dark. Twice as good. So.
Yeah, and she has already her other idol. So if she's in danger, or Suri's in danger, and she's able to correctly read whether the votes are on her or on Suri, assuming they maybe like have a third person still with them somehow. I don't know who that would be at this point. Like, like maybe Lisa, I guess, is like the most likely. You know, I guess maybe like Janine, if like Luke is pissed at her for like making this play behind his back. I don't know, but if they have 3 and they can't like clean split the votes against them with like 5 versus 3, then you know Parv can basically like win a coin flip on using her idol against her Suri, and then the next round there's only 5 people. You know, if she has either Lisa or Janine with them and they're swearing up and down they don't have an idol, then like it's basically like a 50-50. You know, you have, you know, both Luke and Cass with their idols, like, you know, like say like Shawnee gets voted out, right, at 8. And they're just she basically just has to pick one of Luke, Cass, Tommy, or Janine/Lisa. And I think that like it's not impossible that she hits that, especially with like if Parv and Suri have Janine on side and Shawnee goes out and doesn't play an idol, Luke is the only Aussie outside of that kind of, you know, Venn diagram that could theoretically have an idol unless somebody went home with an idol in their pocket, right? So at that point, like I think Luke is a very obvious person to guess as to who has the idol.
Yep. Yeah, and I feel like if George had an idol, he would have let it be known. So you can probably rule him out. And David, you know, didn't play it. So it's like probably nobody got, you know, voted off with one in their pocket from the Australian tribe.
Yeah, I think like maybe you could rationalize Sarah because that seemed like a legitimate blindside of her. Like maybe Sarah had an idol and got blindsided with it in her pocket. Yeah, but like I think at that point, still, Luke is the most obvious guess as to who you would use an knowledge power.
No, I agree. I can't remember exactly, but wasn't Luke like known for having idols? Like,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Australian Survivor super fans, you let us know. It's Luke.
Yeah. But like, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, I think it's, you know, like Parv is somebody that historically was not known for like, you know, idols and advantages. Like she found one in Micronesia that she, you know, didn't use, and then in HVV she has the double idol play. But like, you know, like one of those idols is given to her by Russell. It's the JT idol. So like, you know, like she's known for like kind of having the idols and making the plays, but she's not like a idol fiend. Like she's not like a Tony who's like got the bag of tricks and like that's kind of like his thing. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
You think she's going to top the double idol play?
Yeah. So I'm reading on Luke's page. He found an immunity idol before the tribe switch and champions versus contenders. He found an advantage. Like he strikes me as somebody who's, you know, potentially got a bag of tricks of his own.
Yeah, 100%. No,
he's not like George who tattooed the idols that he found on himself, but you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I agree. I think that like by any kind of rational like like string of logic, the most likely person to have an idol, if you had to kind of take a shot in the dark, is Luke.
No, agreed. But yeah, poor Kirby. She seemed very sad that it went this way. I loved her this season. I was entertained by her so much. So hopefully she can hang her head high. I thought she had a very fun appearance this season.
Yeah, no, I think she definitely solidified herself as like a top player, for me at least. I think coming into the season, she's probably on the lower end of players just in terms of their body of record on Survivor. One-time player who didn't win, it's
fifth place finish,
yeah. So yeah, still really good. She did have a lot of control in her season. She was not there are plenty of fifth place finishers who are basically non-entities on their season, and that was not her. So it makes sense that especially I don't think it was recency bias. I'll say that she ended up on this season.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think she, like you said, established herself even more within the lore of the show. So it was a fun ride. Really enjoying all these characters. They're all so fun. Cass, another great week.
I was going to ask, who do you think is in the best position right now? I think Cass. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
I think she's going to win. Honestly.
Yeah. I agree. I think after this, I think she's by far in the best position. She has an idol that no one knows about. She's basically at the fulcrum of all of these kind of different groups. She's loose. She's been loosely targeted, kind of in both the Sarah vote and then also here. If she didn't win immunity, that was going to be what Janine pushed instead of Kirby. So she has kind of dodged a couple of bullets here. But also she's very good in the challenges, right? She comes in second in the first set of individual immunities. She is in the top 4 of the challenge that they canceled because of the lightning, and then she wins the other one. So at this point, she's basically tied or coming first or second in every challenge. So I think right now it's her game to lose for sure.
No, agreed. So we'll see. I mean, I really have to say, I love the international players. Even I loved Rob's one episode. I thought he was, a great character for that one episode. But certainly this 3 little international alliance has been very fun to learn about them through this season. So really thankful for Australian Survivor to give us that, because it's I would have never known about, especially Cass and Tommy. I would have never known. I knew about Lisa because Survivor New Zealand season 2 is supposed to be really, really good. Season 1's horrible. I watched that, but season 2 is supposed to be really good, and she's supposed to be a pretty dominant winner. So yeah, I'm just glad I got to see some players play Survivor that I never would have even known about.
I definitely really like Cass. Cass is she's definitely got a killer instinct in her that I didn't really expect coming in. And Tommy, I feel is really low key likable. He's just very charismatic.
I wish they showed him more.
Yeah, I understand. We talked about this last week, where and they even kind of address it with Cass in the Tribal Council about when you're playing Survivor in a second language, it's everything is harder. And giving confessionals is harder. Having a presence on the show is harder. I think Cass has done a very good job of both of those from what we've seen. But I think
can't even imagine how Survivor's so difficult in your first language.
Yeah, 100%. And I know I helped out and watched an LRG last year where a player played in English when his first language was French, and and we've also seen Big Brother Canada players, Quebecois Big Brother Canada players whose first language are French try to play the Big Brother Canada in English, and that's the closest examples from what I can tell of things I've seen like this before. And there is definitely you can tell a struggle both in terms of social game, socializing, communicating with the other players effectively.
Abby Maria, from
True.
Brazil.
Yes.
She had trouble,
Mhm.
getting on the same page with people that first season, especially.
Yeah, 100%. So it's definitely like a huge stumbling block, in front of these players, and obviously like in terms of like them giving compelling confessionals. It's hard enough to be like a compelling confessionalist when you're an English speaker in English, right? Like I can't imagine trying to give like a good confessional in a second language.
Yeah, no, for real. So yeah, another banger week of Australian Survivor. Cannot wait for next week. Do we know if all 4 episodes are next week for the
So,
finale?
right? Let
Yeah,
me
I'm not
see.
sure.
Let me see if we can do a quick Google here. I don't know if you want to vamp a little bit
It'd be
while
kind of. I would just think it'd be kind of unfortunate if we get like 3 more and then we have to wait a whole week just for the finale episode. So I am really hoping that this last, week
Mhm.
4 episodes so that we can, get it done. And I mean, this has been such a great season. Like, what a treat that we looked forward to it for so long, and it's actually lived up to the hype. Like, that's so rare. And I don't know. Season 50 of Survivor really needs to bring it, let alone season 49, which is just like regular people. So
Yeah.
let's see.
I am having trouble finding a legitimate, consistent schedule here. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you want to give it a shot, but
No, we'll find out next week.
yeah, we'll figure it
See
out.
what happens. Yeah. But either way, we'll do one episode for the 3 episodes, or 3 episodes and then one for the finale next week, like the week after. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. Well,
Okay, I have it here. I have it here.
Okay.
So it's the 30th, 31st, 1st, and the finale's on the 6th.
Oh, so it is.
Yes.
That's Sunday. Okay. So that's what we'll do. So 2 more episodes of the Blindsiders for this season. And then we have a little bit of a break, and then American Survivor starts again, and we'll be here again.
Yeah, we have American Survivor 49 starts in, I believe, September 28th, something like that, or whatever that last Wednesday in the month is. And the cast has been released. Looks really strong. Hopefully it'll be a fun season. There is a history of seasons before these huge all-star seasons being really good and then end up being forgotten about or overshadowed.
Yeah.
So
I think we're gonna be on the air like for every week, Ben. I think we're gonna still be doing the Have Not Room all the way till Survivor and a little bit of overlap. And then the Traders is gonna start like right after that, probably. And that will probably bring us pretty much right to season 50.
Well, also, there's a lot of rumors about Big Brother doing some kind of February season. There's been like a lot of speculation on what they could possibly be doing, but this is only been done previously.
We have the Have Not Room in such a good place this year that I would love to, keep doing it and covering whatever winter season they do for sure, whether that's celebrity or all-star or something.
Look, there's like been loose chatter about a potential Big Brother All Winners season, 3 weeks in February or something like that. And I think that like with
Rachel, enjoy your time off for a couple months because we're getting you right back into that house.
Mm-hmm. I think if that's the case, we for sure be covering that.
Yeah,
I guarantee that. So
I mean, even the seasons of Celebrity Big Brother have been fun, so I'd be down for that. I'd also love to cover House of Villains season 3 if you're down.
I still have to finish season 2. I know loosely kind of what happens for the season, but I have not actually finished it. I got like maybe the third way through, and then like have kind of fallen off because so much other stuff has come up in terms of viewership. Obviously, Big Brother has eaten a lot of my time watching the feeds. So
yeah, for me it was a nice appetizer for Big Brother. Like I watched it right before Big Brother started, and I was
Mhm.
like, all right, like here's a less serious version of Big Brother with like reality stars.
Yes, that's what I did. I failed at finishing season 2 before Big Brother started.
I do think it's a good show, and I think it's worth finishing for sure.
So it's very good. I mean, I love season 1, and I've loved season 2 so far.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
No, this is brilliant. I hope they do this again, not immediately, but like maybe in like 5 years. They do Australia versus the World 2 or something similar. I know that like everyone always wanted with Big Brother, like doing a Big Brother Canada versus the US, and that never really happened. And now like Julie and Derek are trying to needle Boston Rob to try to basically triple dog dare him into playing Big Brother.
Yeah.
Did
you ever think you were going to see Boston Rob on the wall?
I did not know that Boston Rob watched Big Brother. I didn't think he did. I think there might be a chance he's only watching this season because he knows Rachel.
Right. Like friends. So he's like, oh, I got to support my friend.
Yeah. So I think that's a possibility. And they were like, oh, he's watching the season. Let's get him on and then like needle him to try to make him play Big Brother. I think that we're still 25 years into the Survivor Big Brother Amazing Race. All of them started basically in 2000, and still there has not been a player, despite all of the incestuous crossovers that happened between these shows, there has never been a player to play all 3 of them. We're literally doing a Big Brother season of Amazing Race, and previously have put both Big Brother and Survivor players on Amazing Race as an entire season theme already, and still no one has done all 3. It feels like CBS knows this, and they're trying to make the first person to do all 3 be like an iconic person and not somebody random.
I think you're right, Ben. Honestly, I think you're right. They should have made who are the 2, Jackie and
Jeff. Yeah. Throw Jackie together on Survivor, and she's the first person to do all 3.
Right. Now, I was gonna say they should have made them be a team on the new Amazing Race season, even though they probably haven't for like years. They were part of that blind date season, right? Where half the cast was like randomly assigned.
Yeah.
And did they do good on their season?
They went out, I think, in like 8th place, 7th place, something like that. Like they were middling, I would say. It was definitely a very random set of people to choose to throw into Big Brother.
Yeah, was that like where people weren't, dying to have either of them back on the Amazing Race? So like, why'd you put them on Big Brother?
Yeah, I mean, Jackie was fun, I think.
Jackie definitely was the much better Big Brother player than Jeff.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
Jeff was also like the first person to get completely steamrolled by Vanessa. Mm-hmm. So that's fun. That's kind of iconic in its own way.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, no, I don't know. Do you have a pick? This is a huge tangent, obviously. Like we're talking about
Amazing Race.
Do you have a pick for like who is the first person to do the? Have you locked in ever like your pick for who the first person to complete trifecta is?
Oh well, who has done 2? It has to
a lot of people, many people. Yeah. Like probably dozens at this point have done 2.
That's tough. I mean, Mike White.
Mike White.
I do a celebrity season.
You think Mike White's going to go on Big Brother?
No, I don't know. I'm sure Big Brother would love that.
Oh, I mean, obviously, yeah. I know, the shortened Survivor film schedule in the new era probably was a huge boon for him to be able to take time off of production for White Lotus to go play Survivor. I don't know if you're going to get him for 80 days, 90 days on Big Brother.
No, it would have to be Celebrity Big Brother where it's like 3 weeks long.
Would that count? If Mike White was on Celebrity Big Brother, would that count as a completely trifecta?
I count it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Okay. Yeah, I think it will be Boston Rob if they do a shortened like season where it's like
Survivor versus Big Brother.
Survivor versus Big Brother. Yeah. I actually put Natalie in there too. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I think Natalie would be a really interesting on Big Brother. I don't see. Like, this is the thing where like a lot of the big name survivors kind of have a vibe to them, where they have like this like almost physical prowess action going on, which is why I think Suri was like an interesting pick to go on Big Brother and make that like Survivor to Big Brother crossover, because that's not Suri's vibe really. You know, Suri's like whole thing is like she got up off the couch and then they put her back on the couch in Big Brother. Like Parvati, I think, you know, obviously she has the Traitors, which is in a house, but like, you know, you see her out, like even like I think she's in her 40s at this point, or like at least late 30s. If not, I think she's in her like mid 40s, right? I'm not trying to age Parvati or like make a bad guess on her age, but like, you know, like she's still killing it in these challenges, in these like really physical challenges. So like I feel like that doesn't really fit the Big Brother, you know, aesthetic. And like I think Big Boston Authority also is like kind of that kind of vibe, where like it doesn't really, I can't really, you know, imagine Boston Rob hanging on to a weenie getting sprayed with goo, you know. Like I feel like it doesn't really like fit his aesthetic. Like he's like the like, you know, he's like the Godfather on the beach with the hat, and like, you know, he's got like the beach bod, like, you know, even with the dad bod at this point. Like he's got that kind of vibe. I don't know if that really like translates to Big Brother.
Yeah, no, I agree. I am surprised like Hayden was never on The Amazing Race.
I mean, you know, they broke up right at the height of when it would have happened. So
yeah, so like, because I think I think The Amazing Race is the easiest to get on if you've been on another show.
Yeah, 100%.
That's been proven. Because you have to have a big cast, and like, you know, you're at least proven that you're interesting and you can bring someone else, or someone else is already from the show, like Jess and Cody, Rob and Amber, Ethan, Jenna. Survivor, I feel like, is the hardest to get on from one of these other shows. Hayden was a winner, and it still had to be like a weird bring someone along season. And then Caleb, that was shocking to me that Caleb was.
You say that, but statistically, Big Brother is the hardest to get on after having been on another show.
Well,
because
what I was thinking for that is Big Brother would have these people. It's people don't want to.
That's fair.
Play Big Brother for that long,
because there's only been 3. It's only Suri and then Jeff and Jackie. That's the only time that people have started on a different show and then ended up on Big Brother. It's always trickled from Big Brother outward.
You gotta be a real psycho to want to play Big Brother.
Yeah.
In the first place. You know?
100%.
So that's I think like the big barrier to entry is like, if you're a big enough name to get on another show, you're gonna want to do the Traitors, you're gonna want to do House of Villains, you're gonna want to do whatever, the challenge even. Like you don't want to do Big Brother.
Yeah, so then it's Three the name then, by that logic. But I don't know if Three would ever want to do Amazing Race. I think she's like a rare case where like everyone wants to play Amazing Race, where like I feel like Suri like wouldn't want to play Amazing Race because there isn't as much like social strategy involved, and it's a lot of like physical activity and running around.
And I just can't see her being into it. I think maybe if Jared had a better showing on Big Brother, maybe they could have talked her into it, because it's like giving her son more of an opportunity to like show himself. But since he didn't, and I'm shocked, I thought Jared was going to be a like challenge person for sure, but it doesn't look like he's doing that, right? He hasn't been on the challenge since. So
Blue is
weirdly Blue is in America. I would have thought for sure Jared was from that cast going to be the challenge guy, because he was really good at the physical competitions in Big Brother. So I don't know. I think it's hard to get people into the Big Brother house. I think that's the problem.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, look, you know, we have Rachel on the current season of Big Brother, right? Like, I don't know if she would ever do Survivor. I think she probably would. I think she said in the past she would. I don't know if Survivor would ever want that. But I think that's also another name that's always been thrown around as the person.
That's
to do it
crazy too, because she's a 3-time player of both shows, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just
She's
hasn't
done
played
both.
Survivor.
Yeah, both Amazing Race and Big Brother 3 times.
Yeah, she is a real psycho for coming back into this house after winning.
Yeah, and if you're somehow still watching this despite our enormous tangent, check out our coverage of Rachel in her psycho run on Big Brother 27 in a house full of crazy people.
Yep. All right, Ben. Anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
No, yeah. I mean, this is fun. I'm really excited to see the where we go from here.
Yes, me too. Very excited. Obviously, Better Radio has all of our podcasts. We also have Blindsiders channel and the Have Not Room channel for other videos, clips, that kind of stuff on there. And then main channels, we can get everything. Gonna still make a video this week. Football's almost back, so I've been making sports videos again for Wicked Good Sports. So I just haven't had the time yet to make a video for the main channel this week. But check that out. If you like spooky, scary stories, check out Wicked Scary, another one of our channels. And other than that, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.